Mr. CHIRCHIR, and National Treasury, CS, Njuguna Ndungu, have certainly committed criminal offenses, abused office, and gone against the Constitution. They stole money from the Consolidated Fund in addition to spending money way above what Parliament approved. They must not only resign, they must also be prosecuted.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, the greatest enemy to devolution in the Republic of Kenya is corruption. More so, corruption rooted within the government. Now, when the leaders in RUTO's government are questioned about their involvement in corruption cases, their answer is as ignorant as their performance. They say, it's our own time to eat. Recently, President William Ruto admitted that corruption is the greatest threat to Kenyan 2010 constitution, citing high-level corruption scandals in all the three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. But he went ahead also to recognize that due to the infrastructure that he has laid out within the last 3 years that he has been in power, the revenue collection of the Republic of Kenya has risen from 60 million to 1 billion Kenyan shillings a day. Now, we are collecting revenue of about 1 billion Kenyan shillings. But Ruto tells us that half of that money disappears within the day that it is collected. And it disappears in the pockets of corrupt leaders within the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. But the most corrupt of them all is the executive, where three of Ruto's cabinet secretaries have been named as the top 3 most corrupt leaders in the current regime. These are Kipchumba Murkomen, the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, Aden Duale, the Cabinet Secretary of Health, and Davis CHIRCHIR, the Cabinet Secretary of Transport in the Republic of Kenya. Duale, having been dragged online recently over the disappearance of 24 billion from Social Health Authority SHA, was regarded as the most corrupt of them all. But is he really the most corrupt? Details that we are receiving today is that Duale is a small fish compared to the Cabinet Secretary of Transport, Davis CHIRCHIR, as the man is rumored to have currently acquired a personal loan in the name of Kenya, the loan of 175 billion. Now, this loan of 175 billion is one of the greatest threats to the Kenyan economy right now, since Kenyans will have to pay the loan, yet they are not benefiting in any way from the said money. Should I remind you that the transport sector is one of the most lucrative sectors in the Republic of Kenya? Now let's get down to Davis CHIRCHIR, because we are going to break it down. The current Kenyan debt. Kenyan's debt burden has currently crossed 11 trillion, pushing the country to the edge of a financial storm. Now, Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis CHIRCHIR is under fire for a controversial 175 billion infrastructure board deal. He insists it is not public debt. Lawmakers and financial experts disagree. They fear the scheme could hide billions off the books while leaving taxpayers exposed. The arrangement has left Kenyans asking if the government is sneaking in more loans through the back door. Let me tell you, before Ruto entered into the government, we had a public debt of about 9 trillion. Now, we are at 11 trillion. And Ruto's greatest campaign tool that he used was on how he will deal with public debt. But in 3 years, all years accumulated is another 3 trillion debt added on Kenyan's public debt. Now, how CHIRCHIR dubious loan has currently exposed the hidden debt. On Friday, September 5th, Davis CHIRCHIR appeared before the National Assembly Budget and Appropriation Committee. MPs grilled him over the 175 billion facility arranged with the Trade and Development Bank, TDB. CHIRCHIR defended the deal by arguing it was not a loan but a financing arrangement. He explained that Kenya shilling 7 from the Road Maintenance Levy Fund RMLF had been diverted to a special purpose vehicle SPV. According to him, the SPV would borrow against future revenues, making it bankruptcy remote from government accounts. By keeping the transaction off the government books, CHIRCHIR claimed the country's debt ceilings would remain untouched. He assured the MPs that no sovereign guarantee had been issued and that risks were carried by the SPV, not the Treasury. A lot of gibberish. Yet critics say the setup is deliberately opaque. If the SPV defaults, Kenyans fear taxpayers will eventually shoulder the bill. Economists warn that this shadow borrowing only masks the true size of the Kenyan debt. Kenyan's debt already behold the safe levels right now. The Kenyan's official public debt has already surpassed 11 trillion. Of these, 5 trillion is domestic, while another 5.09 trillion comes from external creditors. Treasury bills and bonds dominate domestic debt, while external loans flow from multilateral, bilateral, and commercial partners. At 63% of the GDP, Kenyan's debt is well above the legal limit of 55%. Servicing this debt already consumes half of all taxpayers' revenue. Adding new off-book obligations could trap the country in a debt spiral similar to other African nations caught in opaque loan schemes. The 175 billion facility, which the money is said to have been borrowed to facilitate, is meant to cover pending bills at the State Department for Roads. CHIRCHIR also confirmed a large share would fund the Nairobi-Nakuru-Mau Summit Highway project. This road has long been marred by controversy and delays. Critics now question why a disputed project is being financed through such a secretive arrangement. The highway project and the questions of priorities. The Nairobi-Nakuru-Mau Summit Road is part of the Northern Corridor, a vital trade route linking Kenya to Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Congestion on the road is a real problem, but the financing strategy raised red flags. The project, scheduled to completion by June 2027, will cost billions, while 24 months of heavy construction ahead, expert warn cost could balloon beyond projections. The question remains, why rush into a risky financing deal instead of transparent parliamentary approval? Kenyans worry the SPV model allows powerful individuals to profit while leaving taxpayers vulnerable. If revenues from the RMLF fail to cover repayments, the government may be forced to step in. That would quietly turn the board into public debt, despite CHIRCHIR's assurance. CHIRCHIR's defense of the 175 billion deal exposes Kenya's fragile financial position. Labeling the money not public debt does not erase the risk. Instead, it raises suspicion that the government is concealing its borrowing spree. With the debt to GDP ratio already below safe limits, the country cannot afford hidden liabilities. Kenyans deserve full transparency. Unless Parliament forces accountability. The CHIRCHIR dubious loan would become another costly burden for generations to come. The 175 billion is another scandal that is going to become the greatest in the current regime. It will be as that of the golden bag. It will be as that of the AGLO leasing scandal. And this money, this debt will all be serviced by us taxpayers. It's high time we realize that this country is seeking us into a pit. What is your take? A comment on the comment section. See you in our next video. This is the Kenyan Daily Report.